All right, our next unsolved case is out of Southwest Florida. In 2008, two masked men barged into a Fort Myers apartment with guns in plastic bags. Torry Chrisp was killed, and police say they just need one more eyewitness so they can make an arrest. Scripps News Fort Myers brings us up to speed.
May 6, 2008, Fort Myers. A few miles outside of downtown, you'll find the Brookside Village Apartments. Inside this unit, 105, was 21-year-old Torry Chrisp.
He was in a apartment, first floor apartment. There was a total 6 men in there, and they were playing cards.
Out of nowhere, two men came barging in the back door wearing ski masks.
Both guns were, according to our witnesses, in plastic bags, which I had never heard of before.
Fort Myers Police cold case detective Richard Harrison believes the men didn't want to leave behind any shell casings. Torry was hit in the chest and back. Another man was shot in the leg.
Now, after the men were shot, they all ran out the front door with the gunmen following them out the front door.
Torry and another man ran across the street through this field, not knowing where the gunmen were. They were back at the apartment, hopping into a white car.
Their intent was to follow him and try to finish him off. You know, you hate to say he was running for his life. He didn't know how fatal he was shot.
Torry and his friend ran to Whitehead Creek Loop. The white car pulled around the corner and someone inside tried to shoot Torry again, all while he was laying on the ground.
His friend kind of hovers over Torry, protecting his body.
They didn't hit Torry then, but he died from the earlier bullet wounds. Clearly this was targeted.
Yes.
What do you think the motive was?
I believe it was payback for something that Torry may have done, may have been involved in.
As for the white car, Harrison says it went past the now crowded apartment.
Someone in the crowd took a shot at that white car.
But the car took off. Detectives searched for it and tried to find any sort of evidence at the scene.
She sees shoe prints.
She, as in a forensics detective, found this shoe print near the back door. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing, but she took a picture just in case. 2 weeks later, a break. Investigators found the white car.
In the car is a ski mask. In the car are a number of guns legally possessed by the driver of the car.
Detectives also found 2 bullets. They had an idea who was in the car, but they needed more evidence. So they got the shoe print and compared it to the potential suspect's shoe. That person was in jail on an unrelated charge, so police had access to their property.
So I found a shoe print expert.
Not far, actually, right over the bridge at the Cape Coral Police Department.
She looked at the crime scene photos of the shoe print. I gave her the shoes from Property Bureau, and she says it's the same size, sneaker, shoe, same style, model.
Harrison had quite a bit of evidence. And remember, there were 5 people in that apartment, so someone must have seen something. Unfortunately, he can't go back now to talk to them.
2 of those 5 are now deceased, victims themselves of a homicide.
With fewer people to talk to, Harrison's job becomes much more difficult. But he says it also takes a community to solve a crime.
I think what we really need is maybe 1 or 2 more bits of evidence.
Harrison believes he's 95% there, but needs your help.
No one in this world has the right to take a life of another person, regardless of what they did. They were bent on killing Torry Chrisp.
Now, witnesses pass away. Like in this case, detectives retire, memories fade. But as we've seen before, it doesn't mean cold cases can't be solved. If you know anything about the murder of Torry Chrisp, you're asked to call the Fort Myers Police Department. Reporting in Fort Myers, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
Again, if you have any information at all on this case, please call Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers at 1-800-780-TIPS. All right, let's bring back in our guest, still with us, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Franz Borghardt, and former law enforcement officer Claudia King. Claudia, I just want to first get your impressions of this case. I can tell you, number one, it feels like a hit. I mean, what kind of criminal, just random criminal, has a plastic bag over the gun to save the casings? These are folks who had done it before, knew what they were doing, and it appears that they were after this victim.
I absolutely agree with you, Michael. It seems like a hit. I also have never heard of the plastic bag to collect the rounds, which likely means that that gun had been used prior in crimes or was going to be used again in the future, or all of the above. So it seems like they were definitely focused in on Torry. you know, there's got to be somebody out there that knows something. And as time passes, you know, maybe people are a little bit less afraid to speak out when right after the crime, there could have been fear if they lived in that neighborhood, if the people who committed the crime were well known to these people. There could have been a lot of fear surrounding the incident. But as time has gone by, maybe now somebody will be willing to speak up and help give Torry's family the justice that they deserve.
I agree. I mean, it feels like a community type crime, a crime that I think these guys obviously knew each other. I don't know if they were hired, but they were experienced, because even after the first shooting, the folks are running out. They get in their car, somebody's shooting back at them, so there's guns all around, and they still stop and chase the guy and still try to shoot him again. And that tells me that they're very experienced and either know the neighborhood very well. But the thing that I want to ask you, Franz, is I was shocked to find out they found the car, they found guns, they found the mask. I guess they couldn't tie the guns to the scene because there were no casings. But the owner was in jail. I mean, that seems like a lot of information. And then a matching shoe print, all of that. I mean, what do you make of it?
So I'm a little surprised we didn't see an arrest, right? And look, good on law enforcement for not jumping the gun. Good on law enforcement for coming out and saying, look, we just need a little bit more. Sometimes we see in the justice system arrests made where there maybe isn't an airtight case, with the hope that there might be some kind of way of leveraging charges on certain defendants to get the other co-defendants. But man, oh man, do they seem like they have a lot of stuff, Michael, and maybe like we've discussed, maybe someone will just come forward to put the bow on this to where law enforcement can make that arrest and start moving forward with the closure of this case.
Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, my only thought might be the guy might have been in jail. Again, we don't know this particular information. The guy might have been in jail at the time, maybe had an alibi or airtight alibi for not being there. But gosh, it seems like a lot of information. Here's the other thing about this, this idea that in 2008, when this happened, there probably weren't, Claudia, a ton of cameras around. One would think if you had cameras, that could have been very, very helpful just in terms of characteristics of the folks who did this, who might have been around at the time that this happened.
Absolutely. You know, Ring doorbells are one of the best things we've seen in recent years. The other question I have, though, is the ski mask. Were we not able to get any DNA off of that? Or today, are there methods that are more advanced than in 2008 that we would be able to get DNA off of that? We don't have the cameras, as you mentioned, even cell phones. Some of them did have cameras, but not very good ones. So we've got to look at other places and other evidence that we might have. And I am very curious about the ski mask and what, if anything, was found on that, or if it could be retested with stronger forensics and stronger equipment and new technology that might lead us to that bow that Franz mentioned, to take care of this case and get the right person or people arrested and in jail.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You know, one would think if one's wearing a ski mask, something, saliva, something would be on it. Again, we don't have all the information regarding this investigation, some of that being kept under wraps, but one would certainly think that that would be a great lead for them to have. All right. Well, thanks to Claudia King and Franz Borghardt for joining me today. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Folks, thank you so much for watching.